Greg, you're up. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Kelly has decided to try and be hip. So he's calling this episode of his show How It Started, How It's Going with Greg Kelly because, he's like, he's on it, bruh. It was all a lie.
We're used to them lying, but...
Yeah, we are. I mean, the Democrats always lie. You know what I mean? Like, they said Trump was never gonna show his taxes. Lie. They said Trump was never gonna come up with a health care plan that protects pre-existing conditions. Lie. He pointed at Obamacare and went, there it is. See? Liars.
But they're usually a little bit slick about it, all right?
Yeah, that's how I always think of Democrats as slick.
They kind of put a little spin on it and a
Yeah, they try to put a smiley face.
smile. And sometimes you...
Don't forget to go to nudesmax.com and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Yes, really. 1X, because I'm classy. Nudesmax.com.
wonder, are they really telling the truth? Did they just...
I don't know. Tell us, Greg.
lie? Nah. With Joe Biden, it is so obvious.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Lies, bold-faced lies.
They're crazy. These lies are just off the... It's like he said he was going to get this... He presents this $1.9 trillion package. He said it was actually going to help the economy. I mean, all these, Moody's and all these Wall Street firms actually said it did and said it was necessary, almost to the penny, but it's...
It started on Inauguration Day.
Yeah, there was an Inauguration Day? Trump isn't still president? Greg, how dare you?
I knew he was lying to us during the campaign, but Inauguration Day is a big deal.
Isn't it? It is. It's such a big deal. I mean, you care.
Nope. He lied then, and he broke almost every single promise he made.
Almost. He in what, less than 70 days?
My whole soul is in this, bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation. Mm-hmm. And I ask every American to join me in this cause.
Yeah, nothing is worse than a lie in the form of a question or a request. By the way, let's see. Biden poll numbers. How popular is Joe Biden? How unpopular is he as well? He's got a 53.6 approval rating right now, and only 39.6 people don't like him, and they're all big Trumpers. Let's see, Morning Consult. What a surprise, Rasmussen. Bink. The only one where he's below 50 is Rasmussen. That's you can't spot that at all. There's Donald Trump. There's the 50 line. Here's Barack Obama. Hey, oh no. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey. There's George Bush. War! I guess I don't really like him, but you can't do it because of terrorists, and fuck this guy. Bill Clinton. I like him. He's kind of, I don't know. I'd fuck him. I don't know. I mean, the guy's good. Oh, all right. I understand it ain't fair, but he got his, okay. And surplus. And George H.W. Bush. Well, he's kind of Reagan-y. No, we ruined the economy again. Ronald Reagan. Hey, he's all right. He got the hostages back, and all he had to do was wait, give drugs and cocaine and crack and shit. All right. I guess he's okay. And Gerald Ford fell down a flight of stairs. And Jimmy Carter, he seems like a nice enough guy, but we want money, and yuppie. And actually, and Iran-Contra, the Iranians. Nixon, always above 50. Lyndon B. Johnson, I don't know. I don't think black people deserve the rights and protections. Well, maybe they do. I think black people should be able to. Oh, no. John F. Kennedy ends abruptly, but always above 50. Dwight Eisenhower, doing all right. Harry S. Truman, bombing everything, and the war and stuff. So how popular is it? Doing pretty good so far. All polls combined, registered voters, a little tighter. poll of all adults. There you go. Widens out. So, yeah, it's just, and it's pretty consistent, you know? It's within the margin of error all the time in that 50%. Okay. So, anyways, but I'm sorry. Biden was going to divide the nation, right? And he asked people to join him in this.
You heard that. Whole soul is in it. His whole soul is in
Yes.
uniting us. Well, you
Right. Uniting the people, not the politicians. Right?
heard by now.
Greg, I'm sorry. Do you think the politicians are truly representative of America? Do you think Washington, D.C. speaks for the heartland, Greg?
About the Georgia law, controversial. I think
Well, not to you.
there can be disagreement about this, but
Can there? Why are you trying to divide us, Greg?
this is what Joe was saying now.
The Republican voters I know find this despicable.
Oh my God. He's actually saying that Republican voters are for voter integrity? How's he ever going to unite the country like that?
Republican voters.
Right? Is that Greg? Booby, dipshit. I thought you were going to play another clip from that. There are other things you can cut out of context to make your argument. That ain't it. That's exactly him going, I speak to Republican voters. I know them. They may not have voted for me, but they're not for this. That is exactly how you unite a country. What the shit are you talking about? Greg, dude, I know you've been phoning it in since your ratings dropped down back to internet levels, but you got to try harder.
Hey, what about, didn't he say he was going to improve the atmosphere or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
We can see each other not as adversaries, but as neighbors. We can treat each other with dignity and respect.
Right?
We can join forces, stop the shouting, and lower the temperature.
Sounds good, right? Back to this Georgia law thing.
Did they play the wrong clip, Greg? Is that what you're scrambling about? You can't get good help these days.
Which isn't bad. This is reasonable stuff. And if you disagree, you disagree. But what does Joe Biden say about those who disagree?
It's sick. It's sick.
No, he doesn't say about those who disagree. He's saying the bill itself.
Deciding in some states that you cannot bring water to people standing in line, waiting to vote.
Now, that's not true. I'll get to that in a moment, but
It was taken out
wow,
because of the pushback.
it's sick.
Is it not sick to not allow people to bring water to people who are waiting in long lines while voting?
Is this dialing down the temperature?
It's not, because Republicans get very upset when you attack dehydration.
How about making stuff up?
And we must reject the culture in which facts themselves are manipulated and even manufactured.
Facts
Right?
themselves are manipulated or manufactured. Joe speaks from experience.
What law school did you attend, and where did
We're going back to when he ran a long time ago. You know, this is why he dropped out and he learned from stuff. Greg, I love you, kiddo. But do you want me to go back through shit you said a month ago that's equal to this and that you've had no shift from, nor will you?
where did you place in that class? And the other question is, could you quickly? I think we.
I think I probably have a much higher IQ than you do, I suspect. I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. In the first year in law school, I decided I didn't want to be in law school and ended up in the bottom 2/3 of my class, and then decided I wanted to stay, went back to law school, and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I won the international moot court competition. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only need 123 credits, and I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
Nothing he just said there was true. This is back in '87 when we first.
I remember those stats at least the conversation about them being much more solid than not. But,
got to know Joe Biden when he first ran for president.
Right. Yeah. And do we want to go back to the Donald Trump of, I don't know, the Access Hollywood tape?
Talk about making stuff up. Let's give Joe one more chance from the inauguration.
Before God.
By the way, one would think if you had any balls, Greg, and I know you don't, you would say he said this at the inauguration, and since then he has, right? He's played fast and loose with the facts, picking a piece of, either from the press conference or from any of the speeches he's made or from any of the gatherings he's had or the press gaggles when he walks up outside the helicopter and you take you can't find a snippet in that shit. Think about that. Think about the fact that Greg Kelly takes a snippet from the inauguration about manufactured facts, fake news, effectively, the moment that he brought up, and he has to go back to 1987 to find that, which would make a very strong argument for a mature Joe Biden who is telling the truth currently.
God and all of you, I give you my word. I will always level with you.
Always level with us. So.
Okay, so it's been 70 days. Are we going to do a clip from the 90s?
Again, I'll give you one more try. This Georgia law, these new guidelines on voting. How does Joe describe it?
The new Georgia election law?
It's an atrocity. The idea, if you want any indication that it has nothing to do with fairness, nothing to do with decency, they passed a law saying you can't provide water for people standing in line while they're waiting to vote. You don't need anything else to know that this is nothing but punitive, designed to keep people from voting.
And if that's not
right. And
true, Joe, I guess we don't need anything else to show that you are a downright liar and or incompetent. So let's go to section 33, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
And take a look at the section. This makes it quite clear. Yes, it's legal speak, but
the code section shall not be construed to prohibit a poll officer from distributing materials as required by law or from making available self-service water from an unattended receptacle to an elector waiting in line to vote. Yeah. We'll put a bucket by the door you can lick out of once you get here.
But this code shall not be construed to prohibit a poll officer from distributing materials as required by law.
Distributing materials. Like they have to pass out, like, this is what you're going to need before you go into the voting booth on how the voting thing works. That's a pamphlet.
Or from making available self-service water.
Making available self-service water.
From an unattended receptacle.
From an unattended receptacle.
To an elector waiting in line, i.e., there's water available to.
Yeah, and if you're in a wheelchair or a walker and the line is 2 hours long and the bucket of water is all the way up at the front of the line, if you can't walk up and get it, do you really deserve water, Grandma? I swear to God, this is his gotcha. This is it. You fucking went through and pulled that section and then you highlighted that as a way of making your fucking argument? Making available self-service water from an unattended... And by the way, this code shall not be construed to prohibit a poll officer from distributing materials as required by law or from making available self-service. And that, by the way, this is not a guarantee of it. It doesn't have to be there. But if they want to do it, they can. They can make it available by putting it up near the front of the line, and you can get it yourself from an unattended receptacle to an elector waiting in line to vote. So no one watches it. No one refills it. Once it's gone, it's gone. If an organization comes down and goes, they've run out of water. They had a bucket of it because the poll watcher brought some from home. The law says they can't do that, but we want to pass out water because these people are fucking standing in line for 6 hours. It's exactly what the law says. honest to God, I'm only outraged not because I expect any more from but try harder. Seriously, are you? I mean, I know you get your graphics from Fiverr. Are you getting your writing from there as well? No offense, Fiverr.
To the voters who are waiting in line. You just can't get bottles of water from some campaign.
It's not a campaign. NGOs, groups, you cannot wear any or discuss with people in line the politician you're voting for, and NGOs can pass shit out all the time. If the Red Cross wants to do it because the lines are long, or a company like Coca-Cola wants to pass out water. Here, thanks for voting. We don't care who you vote for. Campaigns already can't do that shit. This bill makes it so that no one can.
It's a prohibition against electioneering, and they've been around
No, it isn't. There's already a prohibition against that.
for a long time, and it's totally, totally fair. But
it's totally fair. If an old lady passes out in the heat in Georgia, waiting in line to vote, she should have just stayed at the home and had her ballot harvested by a right-winger.
But Joe Biden, the great unifier, is now tearing us apart.
Yeah, I could tell. I could tell you're totally upset by him, Greg.
With this silly, stupid decision by Major League Baseball to move the All-Star game.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's dividing because they responded, Major League Baseball, a private organization, moved the All-Star game to Colorado, where Lauren Boebert is from.
Mr. President, what do you think about the possibility that baseball decides to move their All-Star game out of Atlanta because of this political issue?
I think today's professional athletes are acting incredibly responsibly.
Yeah, this is his response to all the Colin Kaepernick bullshit we've seen over the last 4 years specifically. This is Joe Biden making an attempt to turn the page on that horse shit. And that if athletes want to be activists, that is up to them, and it's a positive step if they're trying to engage the community, especially, and I know this clip. So he says, especially because they, on a racial level, represent a lot of the people who are being denied the right to vote by this kind of shit.
I would strongly support them doing that.
Yeah, they moved to Colorado, not a right-wing state, but but a blue state as far as the governor goes, with 100% mail-in voting.
All of his soul, he promised to unite us, to work.
And here he is, destroying baseball.
To unite us. The All-Star game, scheduled
All-Stars, just like on the Stars and Stripes.
for July in Atlanta, right? The All-Star game. There it is, American flag. It's just a great thing.
Yeah, it's going to be in Colorado. He's not moving to Cuba, dipshit.
Drag baseball into this.
He didn't drag baseball into it. They decided, he was asked about their decision. Drag baseball into this? The fuck are you talking about?
Yes, he is.
Let's begin to listen to one another again. Hear one another. See one another. Show respect to one another. Politics doesn't have to be a raging fire, destroying everything in its path. Every disagreement doesn't have to be a cause for total war.
Moving.
Right? So you disagree, Greg Kelly. Major League Baseball moving of their own free will as a private organization, moving the All-Star game to Colorado is all-out war?
Moving the All-Star game, I don't think has ever been done for political reasons before.
Well, you'd have to ask them. My guess is that it's always been political reasons.
And that's what they're doing. This is insane.
Honest to God, Greg, look, I do my show on purpose, where I roll in and I put up a video or I use a clip that I've found or that Can't Stop Lying has found that I intentionally don't watch ahead of time because I find it funnier when I discover the moments that we discover that are hilarious together, and it doesn't feel like a setup, right? It just, that's when we have our laughing fits or we see something like happen live, it's fun. It's way more fun. And I do the whole in context bit. That's how I do my show. And so I intentionally roll in unprepared, technically, for every day. I mean, all knowledge aside. But you supposedly have a legit news show, and your show looks like the same thing. Like you're not looking at the this is straight up old Bill O'Reilly shit. You haven't looked at the teleprompter before you've sat down, and you are ham-handedly flailing your way through cuts. They basically talked to you over coffee before you walked out and did this stupid show. And this is the #1 show on Newsmax, isn't it?
There's a little bit more to it, though, than Major League Baseball trying to appear woke. Now,
they're not trying to appear woke. They are, as an organization, offended by the attempt by the Georgia legislature to deny largely black people the right to vote. And the members of their organization, even though the owners tend to be white, the members of the players themselves are largely black. Many of them with family in Georgia. And they don't want to be exploited for the purpose of entertainment in a state that would not welcome their voice. So instead of moving, they didn't move the goddamn game to China. They didn't move it to Mexico. They moved it to Colorado, where it's harder to play, where there's less oxygen.
They are, but there's more to it than that. Here's a Major League Baseball commissioner. His name is Manfred.
I'm here to announce that Major League Baseball has awarded the 2021 All-Star Game to the Atlanta Braves in the city of Atlanta.
Okay, May 29th, 2019. Before Georgia did this.
That was 2 years ago. That's how.
Yeah. So they promised it 2 years ago. So basically, Greg, you marry a woman, you can beat her and cheat on her and do all you want to her because she agreed a couple of years ago to love and honor you, in good times and bad, and sickness and in health, even if the sickness means your attitude towards women, right? Is that how it works? So she can never leave? She can't go back on it based on your behavior, Greg?
That's how far in advance they plan these things. The commissioner of baseball, everybody's happy, but it's been undone.
Are they?
Done in a matter of days.
Everybody's happy, but it's been undone in a matter of days.
And this commissioner should know better. He went to Harvard Law School, so he can read the law like I did and see that it's not what the woke left is talking about.
What law? Dude, I just read what you put up as your defense, and it fell apart.
But here's the deal.
Why are you borrowing Biden's phrases if you don't like him?
He doesn't just want to appear woke. He's got business. Major League Baseball has a lot of business before Congress. They spent more than $1 million lobbying in Congress last year on a whole host of issues, from economic development to taxes. It's far more complicated than just baseball. Kind of weird.
Sorry, they decided last minute to I'm not quite sure what argument you're making, that they moved it because they're trying to placate the narrow majority in the House as if they're going to get screwed on economics and economic development, aviation, airlines, and airports, consumer product safety, and taxes. All that shit's in the infrastructure bill. You're telling me Major League Baseball is afraid to part with $1.2 million in expenditures?
Weird though, right? Major League Baseball,
Wow.
They're cozy with Cuba, where they haven't.
They let Cubans play?
Had an election, I think, in the history of Cuba. And there's Barack Obama doing the wave at a baseball game in Cuba with Raul Castro.
They were trying to unite the country. You do realize Trump has buildings in dictatorships. Buildings. He actually has properties.
Known to torture political opponents in his career, right? And again, no election since he got there. How about that? Why is baseball doing it?
Well, why did they only were able to normalize relations for about 2 years or so before Trump came in and turned it backwards?
Not just to appear woke, but also because of those issues. And Congress.
Yeah, because of their financial tie, Major League Baseball's financial ties to communist Cuba. Listen to the fucking argument here. That American baseball, this asshole is going to attack apple pie next.
Congress can make the life of a Major League Baseball commissioner and baseball players tough if they want to. It's a while ago, but who remembers the steroid hearings, Mark McGuire, other...
They didn't make it tough. The baseball players fucked up.
Prominent players dragged onto Capitol Hill.
They weren't dragged onto Capitol Hill. They were juicing.
That was touchy for baseball, wasn't it? All right. And on Capitol Hill on Friday.
This is the jump? Greg, you don't do any fucking prep, do you?
Afternoon, we had that horrible...
Oh, yeah, I am. There is a lag. Is it an audio lag? I think my computer's starting to heat up. Hold on. This is... I'm gonna... Seriously, I could iron a shirt with this thing right now. Hopefully it's a little better. There's a little bit of a delay, I gotta say.
Attack. Capitol Hill police officer was killed. Another wounded when a man...
Why is the media ignoring this? Ignoring what? The fact that he liked Louis Farrakhan? Is that it? This should be days and days and days and days?
And by the name of Noah Green drove his car into them. What were his motivations? Well, we know that he was infatuated with Louis Farrakhan, the world-famous anti-Semite, also supports the destruction of America, and also chummy with Barack Obama over the years.
You mean he comes to Chicago and meets with large groups of people and they get pictures together? Are they chummy? Are they chummy? They're chummy.
Once they found out this angle, that Noah Green looked the way he did and had the sympathies that he did, they dropped the issue real quick. But all after...
What's the issue? What's the issue? He had those feelings. He was not linked to a greater group. He's not indicative. He was a lone wolf, mentally ill. He's nuts. And he believes in that kind of bullshit. How much longer are we supposed to talk about this shit? He's dead.
Afternoon long, they were trying to tie this some way to those crazy Trump supporters.
That the risk going forward was going to be copycats of varying kinds, that one of the after effects of January 6th was that...
Yeah, is that it made it a target for lunatics?
This was the kind of event that would put ideas in the heads of a lot of people.
And it did.
Trump supporters, you see that? Trump supporters and those who went too far on January 6th.
They just went too far, guys. You know, gouging out the eyes of a cop.
Responsible for this potential Islamic terrorist.
Potential Islamic terrorist. Or just a loser who likes Louis Farrakhan who thinks the world should burn.
They're responsible, huh? Imagine that. You know...
wow. Greg, thanks for bringing it up, man. Why didn't you start with this on your show?
The mainstream media, when they...
Why don't you go on about this?
Finally get embarrassed, or when they realize something doesn't fit their narrative and they drop it, I think that's dangerous. It's dangerous in big ways and in small ways. Take...
Okay, hold on. He's going to say something I was about
Joe Biden. Remember a couple of weeks ago, maybe you don't, he took a
Really? We're supposed to do hours and hours on him tripping?
Terrible fall 3 times going up those steps. This is a big deal. I mean, this...
And he brushed... You mean the part where he brushed off his shin and walked the rest of the stairs because his foot slipped? And?
Find the presidency of Gerald Ford when he fell. They all ignored it. It was no big deal. Just look the other way.
By the way, what about Gerald Ford falling down affected his qualities as a president? And it was way worse.
And when Joe got to Atlanta, he was so...
Look at this fuck playing it on a loop.
Committed to making this story seem like it never happened. He ran down the steps. What happens when you ignore something? You're bound to repeat it. if Joe Biden fell when he was coming down those steps instead of going
If he did?
up those steps, he might have died. I'm serious. He needs to slow down. And also,
That's the problem. Sleepy Joe is going too fast for Greg Kelly.
there's an alternative way to get onto the jet, Air Force One. There's a little hatch. You don't have to go up 80 stairs. You have to go up like 8.
Yeah, that's what Trump asked for. He went up in the ass. He wanted to go use that. And everybody told him it would look embarrassing.
Probably a safer deal. Think about
Because he got winded.
it, Joe. All right, time for some Trump truth.
Trump truth. I thought, excuse me, since the election in woke America, we can't use those words together, can we? I thought we canceled that idea.
You are fake news.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he feels that way about me. By the way, Mr. Former President, if anybody ever shows you any of this stuff, and I doubt they will, you suck. And you were wrong.
And Trump was right when he raised serious questions nobody in the media would about Hunter Biden.
Nobody in the media would?
Whatever happened to Hunter? Where the hell is he?
Making money overseas, doing weird stuff all over the country. Well, now he has a book. It's called
So he's in it wasn't in hiding. He was writing a book. Okay.
Beautiful Things. It's a memoir, and I haven't read it yet. He has had a bit of a colorful life, including, well, dating, having an affair with his dead brother's widow. I mean, that's tough
And
stuff, right?
I don't know. I mean, you like Trump because he had sex with a porn star 5 months after Barron was born.
Talked about it today on the CBS Morning Show.
So he's in hiding, I see.
One of the deepest wounds to his family, the affair he had with his brother's widow, Hallie, just after Beau's death.
A lot of people look at that and think, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
Both of us had gone through the most incredibly painful loss. And it was out of love. And I thought that maybe that love would bring my brother back.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work.
In the middle of that, did you think about how your own kids would look at this?
Yeah. And it was hard.
Yeah, I honest to God. Seriously. He's talking about that. Can you imagine, imagine if you will, Greg Kelly. Imagine your brother dies of brain cancer, and in the sad aftermath of that, your sister-in-law and you are hanging out, and you fall for each other after going through the whole process of watching him waste away, watching him die, and you have an affair. And you feel it was wrong, and you go back and forth about it on an emotional level. And then imagine being asked about it on CBS this morning, and then answering honestly. Just think about that road as a person, as a human being. Never mind the fact that a good portion of Newsmax's viewers would sleep with their own sister if it meant they could, borrow one of her teeth for the dance.
Going out with his dead brother's wife was going to somehow bring his brother.
He didn't go out with her. He had an affair with her. They weren't man about towning each other.
Back. All right. But you can pick up here that it was a painful moment when the family found out, when the kids found out. It would be painful for any family. Again, dating.
But yeah, I know. You'd almost like, I mean, it's already in the book because he's, it's a memoir and he's talking about the tough stuff in his life. You'd almost like, if you were a decent human being, not even bring it up unless it was germane to something else you were talking about.
The dead brother's wife, widow. Horrible stuff, right? We know that. You know that.
No, not horrible stuff. 2 people involved, both of them adults.
Know that.
He didn't seduce her or attack her.
Here's what Joe Biden said publicly when it became a story. We are all lucky that Hunter and Hallie found each other as they were putting their lives together again after such sadness. They have mine and Jill's full and complete support, and we are happy for them.
Sounds horrifying. being accepting of what are you talking about? This is amazing.
He was lying then.
Why was he lying? What do you mean he was lying? What makes that a lie? I mean, at worst, it's a naive interpretation of a circumstance that happened, gave it more length than it had.
He was lying then, and he's lying now.
Based on what, asshole?
And it's really sad.
Not as sad as this show.
You just watched Newsmax.
Yeah, I know, and we've all lost a lot of time. Just thinking about it makes us want to vomit. But by the way, don't forget to go to nudesmax.com